Hi everybody, it's Ed back with another really cool video. Okay, um, I talked about the other day with a friend of mine about, we were talking about moving averages, and he's got like these special secret moving averages that he can't tell anybody about and all this other kind of stuff. And I said, here's the thing, I can put a pretty much a random moving average on a chart and I could trade to it. Okay, it's not that hard. And he's like, oh, that's nonsense. I don't believe I got my special moving averages. Okay, well, so what I did was I went to my go-to chart. My go-to chart's like it's just a four-tick aligned four-tick Renko. You can use a Renko, you can use a line Renko, you can use like a flex Renko, you can use anything. What you're looking for, and the reason why I like the Renko charts is because they show price action really, really nicely instead of like a 1 or a 5 minute chart that like it's just all jaggedy and and lines and stuff everywhere. And it's a little bit easier to discern turns in the market and also discern trend, up, down, whatever, if you're in chop. So this is what I did. I threw a 55, just a regular 55 EMA, and 55 EMA, I like the 55 EMA, a lot of people do. The reason why is because it is two Fibonacci numbers added together. It's the 21 and the 34 equals a 55. And you can put like a 21 or a 34, 55 or 50 or 200 or whatever on here, okay? The Renkos, you have to look at the chart and look at it in terms of a non-traditional, sometimes you have to look at it in terms of a non-traditional moving average, just because the Renkos are the Renkos. A 5-minute chart, 200 on a 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart works well, but it does not work very well on something like a Renko chart, okay? So what I did was I just put a 55 Renko, or sorry, 55 EMA on the chart, okay? And then what I did, I have this guy, I have these, the zigzag study, okay? The reason I have the zigzag study on there, and I can take that off. It doesn't really matter. What I'm doing is I'm looking for kind of the average range, okay, of these, and here's your 55 right in the middle. I'm looking for kind of the average range to where would be an extension I could use for a target, okay, that would be, you're hitting it the majority of the time, okay? You're hitting this thing the majority of the time. So you can use it as a target, okay? So what I did was I looked at this and said, okay, fine. 5 points from 5-point deviation from a 55 EMA on this four-tick Renko or aligned Renko chart works pretty well, okay? And this was Friday's chart, okay? And you can see as it worked, it came down, almost came back to this point, rejected, and then came back up here and then went north, okay? So you could scalp that back and forth, okay? Now, one of the other things that a 55 does, an EMA with extensions, one of the other things that this does is you can tell trend. And the way you tell trend, which is really, really cool, okay, you can tell that we're kind of in a up and down flat market simply because just watching the EMA and the EMA extensions, you could like turn this into like a ribbon or something, okay? So you're looking and it's like, oh, it's just going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. So it's hitting the extensions, bouncing back, hitting the extensions up here, bouncing back. And you can change that. You can make that pretty much anything you want to. If you wanted to make it like a 5-point, 6-point, 7-point, you could make it even a 10-point if you wanted to go for longer, okay, if you wanted to go for a longer move, okay. We all know that the market makers, Jesse Livermore said this, I believe, back in what, the 20s or the 30s or whenever he did this thing, that market makers, the big boys never do anything for less than 10 points, okay? Never do anything for less than 10. because it's, you know, it's a nice 10 bucks, or sorry, 10 points is a nice $500 move per contract, okay? And they're, you know, they're loading up with hundreds of contracts, so they're not going to do anything, you know, they're not going to play this chop stuff, okay? So I can make these bigger. So what I can do is, I'll show you here just a second. And I got a bunch of other stuff on here, but I've kind of hidden a lot of stuff here simply because I wanted to do this very simply and just kind of show you guys. And I'll turn on something else here in a second and show you just how accurate these things are. Okay, so I've got my 55 EMA here. It's just an exponential moving average, and what I've done with it is, you know, as you can see, it's 55 moving average, and you could change that to whatever you want. Some people do it like high-low average, which doesn't change it very much. Some people will use it on the open, which is right there. As you can see, well, it jumped, but I hate Sierra charts when it does that. Okay, open, last, boom. So it doesn't, I mean, it shifts it just a little bit. It doesn't really matter. Okay, it's not enough to really matter on something like this, on a 55 EMA. So my subgraphs, here's what I did, is based on slope, okay, it's either going to be yellow if it's going up or if it's going down, and I can change that. Say, for example, if it's going up, it's going to be green. And if it's going down, it's going to be red or light red or salmon or whatever you want to call that. It's just a light red up here. Okay, so I can glance at this thing and I can tell what's going on. Okay, so this is how I do the extensions. What I do is I do a spreadsheet formula. Okay, this is ID2, right? 55 EMA is ID2. I go into the spreadsheet formula and I say ID2 .SG1 plus 5, right? And I need to turn that to no, so I don't have weird stuff going on. Okay, this one is minus 5. So so I've got a limit on this plus and minus 5. Okay, I can change that to anything I want to. Okay, say I want to say plus and minus 10. So I change it to 10 points, and there's my short target and minus 10 points. There, and there. Now, okay, this is what I've got. So what I can do is I can do a fixed value. Say, for example, if I enter along at 70.50, okay, where did I go to? 84.50. So I can go from 70 to 80. There's my there's my 10 points, and then come back down. So, but see, what's interesting is this does not, if you'll notice, this is just outside that range. Just outside that range. So what I want to do is I want to say, for my long target, that's what I said 5, because it's hitting that, say 5, or say, for example, we can go 7. Okay, well, 7 hits that one, but it doesn't hit, it's that one hits that one, okay, but it doesn't hit these up here, and it doesn't, you know, it's not hitting things. So let me change the short target to, we can see the results, 7. Okay, so 7, see, it rides that. It doesn't catch this down here. Okay, it catches that one, catches that one. So it's more of a matter of going back and eyeballing these and saying, okay, which moving average extension are you going to make money on? Is it going to hit a target? Okay, so what you can, and I'll show you how to play these here in a second. Okay, so now that we've got these, say, for example, say 5. That's 5 points is 250 bucks. Okay, $250 per contract per move. Okay, per swing. Say 5. Deviation from this guy. Okay. So what you're doing is, and this is encapsulating pretty much everything. It may be a little bit short, but that's okay. It's kind of nice that way, and I'll show you why. So you can play this chop, okay? So what you're doing is, so you can take, say for example, your land anywhere on this chart. Okay, if it rejects off of the center line, if you reject off the 50, 55, you use this top as a target. Reject, use the top as a target. As soon as it comes back up here and you see a first red candle, you move your stop to break even or break even plus 1. Okay, so you just paid for the trade. You might have a decent number of trades, and some people say it's over trading, and I think that statement to me is just nonsense. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, you're giving your broker some money, but you're making a lot of money too, because you're having a majority of your trades. If you try this out, the majority of these trades are going to be winners. Okay, so what you do is you're up here. Say you take a long here, boom, you're out. You take a long, you can take a long right here, and boom, you're out. It passes back up here. So what you do is you wait until it comes back down here. So now you got your extension, okay? Got your extension here. It's gone way beyond this, okay? So as soon as it comes back down through this guy, okay, there's your short. Shake your short, 45, say 45.80. So you take your short, 45.80, and you come down, you hit your, and you're targeting this down here, okay? 45.80 to 45.70. There's your $500 move right there. So if you wanted to, just wait until it comes back out, okay? And then target the long side. This one might be a stop loss. This might be a loss or just a break even plus 1. Break even plus 1. Say break even plus 1. Maybe a small loss, because if you say I enter here and I come back here, that's a little bit of a loss. Touches that line, that's a little bit of a loss. You're losing. Say for example, if you come up through here at 45.68 and you come down here 45.66.75, it's a small loss. That's 5 tick loss. Okay, come back up here, 66.75. Come down and come back up 66.75 at that next bar, and then come back down here at 66. That's a 3 tick loss. Come back up here as it comes back up through. If it was, say for example, there 66.50, if you're keeping your stop back, you're going to get stopped out if you keep your stops too tight. But if you ride your stops right here, if you keep them back a little bit, then you're not going to get stopped out as much. And then 64, you might get stopped out for the total number of stop outs, or the total number that you would lose on a stop out would be about the same. However, if you're taking this, you're taking the more trades, which means your commission cost is going to add up. So you might not want to do that. If it comes back and closes below that, you might want to, you might not want to. Okay, so that's one way to play it. And then this one would play out. So you're targeting this band up here. So you're getting in at around 64.25 and you're getting out at 75.25. So there's another 250 down, 250 up. There's your $500 move. Okay. Another way to play this would be to, and this is more of a judgment call to see what's going on. More of a judgment call. You come down here and you wick off that. You take the trade right there. See how this wicks off that guy? Wick, or comes down to the 55, comes down to 55, comes down to 55, comes back up, and then you're targeting this guy. For scalp trading, it works fine. 45.71, 45.72. Okay, 6 points. You come back down, and you're having the same situation here that you are here. Okay, but you see this isn't going very far outside of this range here, okay? And the deviation between the top band and the top of the move is not a whole lot. You're looking at, say, 78.25 to 84. You got 6 more points there, but then what happens? It slams back down, okay? And you're looking at this thing. These guys are just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, okay? So you know that if you look at these guys, okay, you're looking at, you're making higher. You're making a low here, then you're making a higher low, and you're making a higher low. So you look like you're starting to get a trend change. Did I mention one of the ways that you can tell this is you're looking at like the top of this minus the top of one of these guys, and that's a way to kind of get an idea of where to start. If you don't want to just kind of do it by random, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 points for your extensions, okay? And then see where everybody's going to be kind of hitting, and that way you could set this thing up appropriately. So I was going to tell you about trend, okay? So what's happening? So instead of coming back up here, you've got looks like you got a higher low here. It looks like you've got maybe a trend change. Everything's pointing up. Everything's pointing up. Everything's pointing up. Okay. Maybe you got a trend change, but then you have this, and it comes back down. It does not bounce. It bounces between here and then bottoms out here, right? And then lower highs, then comes down. So that's not a trend. You know, it looks like it might be the start of a trend change, but it's not. You can play these very nicely as you have the pullback here, goes back up, and you're getting out in here, nice scalp. Pull back here, okay, you go below, pull back to the 55 extension, and then down to the next one, okay. That's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful trade there. There's a beautiful, beautiful trade there, beautiful trade there. You're looking at right here. Now, here's a thing where you can try. This is all flat, okay? Now, if you'll go back, you notice how this is all flat, it's all flat. Then all of a sudden it turns up, okay? Now we get this nice big long move down to the downside and then bounces right back up to the beginning, right there. Now what happens? Now your trend, now this is the start of a new, you're making basically, this is a higher low than here. So you're looking at, instead of coming down here like this, instead of coming down here like this, you're coming like this guy here, okay? So now you're making higher lows. Now, okay, so you're looking at the start of a trend change. I suspect this is part of a trend change, right? What happens now? We're consistently trading above this guy. So if you're consistently trading above the high point, trend change. Consistently trading below, you're looking at another trend. You can, when it comes back up here, short, long, long, short, right here, comes right back down here. You could take the long here. You could take the get out, take the long, or just flip it around, short, long, long up here, short, down to the bottom. So see what you could make these, even if you just traded the extension to the midpoint, extension to the midpoint, extension to the midpoint. Those a lot of those are winners. You didn't take the entire move, okay? But you've got this guy right here. So you're just bouncing back and forth between that 55 and the 55 extension. And that's really, really nice for scalps, okay? So what did we have? This is Friday, okay? So now, what did we do? Now we're consistently, look how consistent we're trading between that 55 EMA is pointed up, right? The 55 EMA is pointing up here, and we're consistently trading. The last time we hit was way down here, okay? So we're consistently trading above that 55 EMA. Trend change, go long, go long, go long, go long. Boom, boom, boom. Now we come back down, and Now we have our first failure, or a failure, turned around, came back down here. So we're looking at an early indication of a trend change. So, boom, what happens? Now you could see this in chop. These are all been kind of flattened out. See, you've had trend change here. Now you're flat, okay? And that, my friends, you see the early indication of a trend change there. Trend's going up. It came down here, touched that bottom line, came back up, okay? But it didn't come back down. So now you got a trend change. So now our trend is up. Trend is up, and then we're at the end of the day, okay? So you can tell, I've showed you how to say, are we in trend or are we in chop? Definitely just look at the tops, look at the bottoms of these extensions, and you can set those wherever you want. I showed you how to do that. I showed you how to tell whether you're in a long trend or a short trend. Just stick a 55. I like the 55, but you can put anything on there. Try it with different moving averages. Try it with a simple moving average. Try it with I like the exponential because it will catch stuff like this. Okay, simple trend change. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of people, it's just a moving average. So just stick it on your chart and see what happens. See if you like it. Go scroll back through your charts, okay? Scroll back through and see this. You can tell when everything's kind of, your gradual turn from down to up. That's a great, nice little, start of a trend, bouncing off. Not the last time it hit there, right up here, it did not hit up there. Trend change, down, 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 okay? Now, last time it failed to hit it, trend change up. Failed to hit there, trend change down. Failed there, trend change up. Failed there, trend change down, okay? But you got your stop loss to like break even or break even plus 1, so you're not losing any money, okay? You may or may not make money, but it's a safe thing. And I know there's a bunch of guys that go, well, you could do this and you could do that, but a retail trader, and I've said this before, retail traders look in terms of how much money can I make. Professional traders look at that and what's my risk? How can I minimize my losses, right? Warren Buffett's first rule, and I learned this quite a while back. What's Warren Buffett's first rule? Don't lose money, okay? Don't lose money on these moves. There's one right there. Came back, came up through this, came back, okay? And your target's down here. That made money. That made money right there if you kept your stop. If you kept your stop back, came back up, keep your stop loss back. The third one, boom, made money right there. So, and you can go back and look at these moves. Stop loss. Break even plus 1. There's a break even trade. Come back up here, break even trade. Come back up here, break even trade. Okay, break even right there. There it ran. Okay, so you're not losing very much. You're not losing any money on these trades. You're not making any money until you get to the trend change. So this is a pretty good way to see what's going on with the trend. Okay, while at the same time protecting yourself from losses. Anyway, try this, see what you think. If you guys can improve on this, hey, more power to you. I just threw this on a chart just to see how it would work, and then just went backwards and looking and seeing how everything is doing. And you can see where the chop is because everything's kind of flattened out, and then down here, up, down here, you're making higher lows and trend change, and then there we go, it's confirmed. Pull back to the center, take it. Pull back to the center up here. If you didn't take this, pull back to the center up here, take it. Bam, there you go. All right, happy Sunday. It's gonna be a really cool. I think it's gonna be a cool open. I think just judging from this, okay. I'm watching, you know, the pullbacks. I'm watching the pullback to the 55, watching the pullback here, watching the pullback here. Okay, and I showed you guys how to play that. Anyway, uptrend, because we're pulling back to the, again, uptrend, we're pulling back to the midpoint, right? Uptrend, we're starting to pull back to the midpoint. Everything's pushing up here. Everything's starting to push up here. You're making higher lows, higher highs. Same thing on the other side. Anyway, I hope this has been handy. I hope this has been useful. And go out and make some money. Let's go make some money. Have a good one, guys.